This mission is the 91st launch mission of ISRO and 59th of Workhorse PSLV. As mentioned earlier, PSLV's XL version with 6 strap-on motors alongside the core S139 motor is being used for the present mission. This is the 25th time PSLV XL is getting ready for launch. So far in the year 2023, ISRO has launched SSLV's maiden successful mission, 2 commercial missions of PSLV, 1 mission of GSLV carrying the first among the second generation of navigation satellites, 1 commercial mission of LVM-3 and another mission of LVM-3 again carrying the prestigious Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft.
PS4 control system activation in progress.
आदित्य L1 जो कि एक अंतरिक्ष यान है इस मिशन का, इसको पृथ्वी से 235 बाई 19,500 किलोमीटर की निम्न भूकक्षा में 19.2 डिग्री के झुकाव के साथ अंतक्षेपित किया जाएगा। इस कक्षा में निर्धारित आर्ग्यूमेंट ऑफ पेरिजी 346.6 डिग्री को प्राप्त करने के लिए PSLV के चतुर्थ चरण को 2 बार प्रज्वलित कर इसे प्राप्त किया जाएगा। आर्ग्यूमेंट ऑफ पेरिजी असेंडिंग मोड और पेरिजी के बीच के कोण है जिसे कक्षीय तल के साथ मापा जाता है। आदित्य L1 के इस दीर्घाकार कक्षा में अंतक्षेपण के पश्चात उचित समय पर और उचित अभिवृत्ति में अंतरिक्ष यान में लगे लिक्विड एपोजी मोटर्स को फायर कर कक्षांतरण किया जाएगा और इस तरह 5वीं बार में LAM मोटर को फायर कर यान को पृथ्वी की प्रभावी क्षेत्र से बाहर निकलने में समुचित गति प्राप्त की जाएगी। फिर वह पृथ्वी की कक्षा से छोड़कर सूर्य की कक्षा में प्रवेश करेगा और ऐसा करते हुए यह करीब 125 दिनों का समय लगेगा। 125 दिनों बाद यह L1 पॉइंट के पास पहुंचकर और उसकी परिक्रमा करना शुरू कर देगा और यही वह L1 पॉइंट है जहां पर से यह अपने वैज्ञानिक उद्देश्यों का भी प्रतिपादन करेगा। अब हम उड़ान से 11 मिनट की दूरी पर
कंट्रोल सिस्टम एक्टिवेशन इन प्रोग्रेस।
Let me in the meantime tell the viewers about the flight events that the launch of PSLV C-57 Aditya L1 will take. This mission is among the longest flights of PSLV. It is going to last for 63 minutes and 19 seconds. The liftoff coincides with the ignition of core S139 solid rocket motor and the ignition of the 4 ground-lit strap-ons. While the rocket is at 2.7 kilometers altitude, the 2 air-lit strap-ons also commence their operation. The action time of strap-on motors is 70 seconds and the ground-lit and air-lit strap-ons are separated from the ongoing launch vehicle at 70 and 92 seconds into the flight, respectively. The core S139 motor continues to thrust till 110 seconds. Since the second stage of PSLV operates on pressure-fed liquid engine, the optimal performance of the engine is ensured if the effect thrust cutoff or separation of the lower stage is countered by additional means of thrust generation. Therefore, the alleged motors provided for this purpose ignite 3 seconds before the first stage separation and continue to thrust for 11 seconds. The second stage, PS2, commences its operation 200 milliseconds after the separation of first stage. By this time, the rocket would have attained 55 kilometers altitude. The closed-loop guidance is initiated, which compares the present state of rocket to the intended injection point to compute an optimal trajectory. This happens while the rocket is at 59.7 kilometers altitude. At 204 seconds into the flight, the payload fairing is separated as the launch vehicle attains 113 kilometers altitude and the dense atmosphere is no longer present around. These events are taking place in the operational regime of the second stage, which lasts for 153 seconds. PS2 is separated 262.4 seconds into the flight at an altitude of 130 kilometers, while the relative velocity is 4.9 kilometers per second. The third stage, PS3, ignites about a second later and burns for 118 seconds, during which time it adds 12 kilometers to the altitude and enhances relative velocity tremendously from 4.9 kilometers per second to 7.3 kilometers per second. There is a coast phase of 200 seconds that follow PS3 burnout, during which there is no thrust being developed, but the rocket continues to be steered. At 581 seconds into the flight, the PS3 separates, and the last in the
T-minus 8
fourth
minutes
stage
and
of
counting.
the rocket, together with the Aditya L1 spacecraft, coasts for a long time thereafter. Till 1396 seconds into flight, the tracking stations at Shar, Port Blair, Brunei and back will be acquiring the real-time performance data of the flight. But thereafter there is no visibility period of around 1600 seconds or 27 minutes. The fourth stage burns twice. First time for a duration of 30 seconds and second time for a duration of 472 seconds. The first burn takes place in no visibility zone, and the second burn is tracked by a shipborne terminal placed in Pacific Ocean. About 200 seconds after the completion of second burn of PS4, the injection conditions for the separation of Aditya L1 are expected to be achieved. An altitude of 648.7 kilometers
T-minus 7 minutes
and a
counting.
relative velocity of 8.9 kilometers per second, which translates into an orbit of 235 by 19,500 kilometers. The injection event of Aditya L1 will be confirmed by tracking station at Kourou. From the initial placement in low Earth orbit, Aditya L1 will undergo a series of earthbound orbit raising, and eventually it will exit Earth's sphere of influence to reach Lagrange's point L1